right, welcome back. Now we're going to have a conversation on a tech segment now. The conversation is basically going to be preparing for 2021 and some of the things that we need to do. Detoxing, okay? Sometimes all kinds of things have gone on throughout the year preceding, and you don't want to carry over some of these things into the next year. Philip Kofi Ashong has joined us, and he is the host of City Trends on 97.3 City FM, and he's going to help us to understand how to detox. In terms of what?
In terms of trying to find a proper balance in your life.
Okay.
There are a lot of lessons we've picked up, over the course of 2020. And obviously staying at home, being at home meant that you wanted to find sometimes companionship, sometimes connection with the rest of the world, find out what's going on. So we did spend a lot of time on our mobile devices. Let's not kid ourselves. We had a lot of screen time, but it also has a way of affecting the other side of our lives, which is connecting with people, and having interactions with people. And so I have a quick question, and I mean for you at home as well. And Kweku, how many times do you think you end up picking up your device in a day? It might not be necessarily a specific figure, but how often do you think you pick up your device?
Okay,
every day?
So I have this thing on my phone that gives me screen time updates.
Right.
How long I have been on my screen.
Right.
And sometimes it's Philip, I won't lie, it's scary.
When you get your report at the end of the
day. I'm like, really?
So apparently, according to research, most people pick up their devices every 12 minutes in a day. On average. This is on average globally.
Wow.
Every 12 minutes.
Wow.
And I know some people it's much worse. But just imagine, in 24 hours, you pick up your device almost every 12 minutes. That's probably how scary it will be. Now, a study that was conducted in 2016 actually suggested that taking a break from just Facebook, was able to do two things for you. Firstly, it gave you better life satisfaction. And secondly, it gave you more positive emotions. Just Facebook. We haven't talked about Instagram. We haven't talked about TikTok. We haven't talked about all these others. And so, I mean, just think about it. Like, that's just literally how much time you spend on your devices on a daily basis, how much it takes away from you. Now, some people might be thinking, like I need it for work, I need it for this, I need it for that. And it's true. Some people, I mean, if you're a social media manager, for example, I can imagine that your phone will be buzzing literally all the time. But there are some things I need you to consider. And I'll just run through them quickly. And I think we'll probably spend most of the time today just looking at possibly how it's affecting you and how to identify when it's affecting you. And then probably in the new year, we'll look at how to, actually go through the whole detoxing process. Now, if you, at any point in time in the day, honestly feel you spend more time than you actually intended to spend on your mobile device, you need a detox.
Okay.
Sometimes you're really busy, it's a very busy day, you are going about doing your own thing, and it just hits you like, where has the day gone?
Yeah.
And then, you just realize, actually, how did I end up spending so much time on my mobile device? Sometimes you are watching a video, and then it suggests another video, and then it suggests another video, and then you are probably doing some work. You're probably editing something or writing a script or something like that. But then all of a sudden you realize that the time is up. And when you get to that point where you realize that you spent more time than you intended on your mobile device, it's time you started to have a rethink. It's time you started thinking about detoxing. Now, the whole process of detoxing is basically disconnecting from your quote-unquote digital life or the things that connect you to your digital life. So it can be your mobile phone, it can be your tablet, it can be your laptop, it can be your watch, whatever it is. So far as it connects you with your digital life, this is what we're talking about. Disconnecting and unplugging from these. So like I said, the first thing, if at any point in time in your day you realize that, wait a minute, I spent too much time that I intended on this particular platform, then it's probably time that you had a detox. Secondly, if you feel any form of dissatisfaction or guilt after you've come to the realization that you spent more time, it's time for a detox. If at any point in time, like, you know, sometimes you watch one video and they make a very good example. Like when you go to any shop, any food shop, and you buy a burger and chips, when you're eating the chips, initially when you put it in your mouth, great feeling, great taste. You have a bit of salt in there, so it's kind of great. Then the salt goes away, and then there's some oil left in your mouth. Yeah. And then you have a bit of the oil residue on your fingers. Yeah. Now, when you continue eating, after a point, you get satisfied. Yeah. Anything that comes in further just doesn't taste as good. And that's exactly how social media or your digital life works. In the initial stages, it might seem, that's not so bad. Let me check out this quick video on TikTok. Let me check out this quick, posts on IG. Oh, this is a live video of. But then there's a lot else that is happening around you. There's work that's happening. There's family. There's friends. There's all these things that's happening. If at any point in time you're on your phone or you're on your laptop or you're on any digital device and you have a sense of guilt or dissatisfaction from the use of that device, it's time for a detox. It's time for you to disconnect. Now, if you are also motivated by the fear of losing out on information or whatever, if that is your motivation, it's time for you to get a detox. If it is not about processing some information so that, there's an end result that is definite, that you can account for, but then you are more motivated by the fear of losing out on a conversation or an update or something, like you're sitting in your office and then out of the corner of your eye, you see, your phone light up or something, or because your phone is connected to your watch, you see an update, this station has gone live, or and you just feel like, I should check. Because if you ever have that feeling, it's time for a detox. Now, if you are always on edge to check your device, if it's almost, and I don't want to, but there's no better way to put it. Like, how when people are having withdrawal symptoms and, they are shaking, if you ever feel this,
when you haven't touched your phone for 5 minutes,
you just want to reach out, and it's not as if there's a buzz on your device. It's almost like you feel like something has gone wrong. And you always have this edge to just check what's happening in your digital life or on social media or wherever. It's time you consider the detox. Now, if at the end of your day, you look back and you genuinely feel that you don't have enough time in your day, you probably need to do an assessment and do a detox. Because sometimes you don't realize just how much time you spend on your mobile devices. And it can be a phone, it can be a tablet, whichever. Now, like I said, if you pick up your phone 12 times on average, every 12 minutes, if you pick up your mobile devices, whatever it is, on average, every 12 minutes. And let's just say that you don't spend too much time. So let's say you spend like 5 minutes. Let's just say 5 minutes. Now, every 12 minutes, you spend 5 minutes out of 24 hours. Every 12 minutes, you're picking up your phone, spending 5 minutes. Research apparently shows that it takes about 16 to 20 minutes for you to get back on track to whatever you're doing when you have a distraction, especially when it's a mobile device. So just think about that. Every 12 minutes you pick up your phone, you spend about 5 minutes on it. You now have to spend another 20 minutes getting back on track to what you're already doing. Then another 12 minutes comes in, 5 minutes, 20 minutes back on track. Just think about it. At the end of the 24 hours, how many hours do you realistically think that you have to get productive? Think about it. Like, Just sit back right now,
Okay, so
wherever you are, and think about it.
Let's do a quick calculation. So if every 12 minutes, right? So an hour, we have, let's say, 12 minutes in an hour. Right. So if every 12 minutes you're going to pick it up and you're going to spend 5 minutes every time, you're really going to be unproductive.
And then you're going to now have to start looking for that 16 to 20 minutes where you're going to get back on track. I mean, just law of averages, just averaging it out, just, thinking through it. So if at the end of any working day, you sit back and you think that you've not had enough time to be productive, or you've just not had enough time to do much, you probably need to sit back and rethink just how much time you've spent on your mobile devices.
Let me just let our viewers right now, in case they have any questions that they want to ask regarding this. Now, we're talking about detox. We're talking about getting your life back on track, after spending a whole year just really getting possessed by your machines and the whole digital world. If you ask any questions for Philip to answer, we're going to do another one and talk about the real detox when we get into the new year, the things you should actually do practically and all of that. Send us a message. We want to hear from you. 0550-585-8332. The hashtag is Breakfast Daily. Let us know what you're thinking, your experiences, and if you need any help, what questions you have for us. Yeah.
Now, one of the other things that I think people really need to think about, like critically think about, if at any point in time in your day you feel the urge to check social media, not for anything, but to compare yourself socially, like I just posted a picture, how many people have liked it, how many people have commented, how many people are sharing my post. If you are someone like that, my brother, my sister, it's time for a detox. That's just as simple as it is. If at any point in time, like you post a picture and your preoccupation throughout the day is to just constantly go back and check, number one, how many likes, how many comments, if it's a video, how many views, hey, wow, people who not, like, it's
and if your comments are come, who has commented?
Who exactly is commenting? Are these people in my circle? Should I follow them or not? It's time for a detox.
Okay.
I mean, if you're a celebrity and you are, an influencer, for example, you're a brand influencer, and as a result, you are paid because of the posts that you make and, how well your posts do. Even people like that need a detox, but that's a conversation for another day. But if you're not a social media influencer, you're just using your social media for whatever it is you're using it for, and you constantly have this need for a social comparison, it's about time you did a quick introspection and just looked at your digital life once again, and then try to get a detox, because it might seem all fun and games at a point, but then it starts to get borderline addictive, where your whole life is spent checking how many likes I have, and then you get to that point where when you don't have enough likes, you start getting worried. Then you start doing some absurd things, or you start researching into how to get more likes, which half the time doesn't really work. Because you see, what sometimes people don't get is, yes, there might be some science to it, but a lot of the time we can't really predict what goes viral or what doesn't. Someone can wake up in the morning, do a silly dance, and it goes viral. It doesn't mean that you doing the same thing will also get you viral. That's just not how it works. And I think sometimes some people get it all mixed up, which is unfortunate, but that's just the reality of it. So like I said, if at any point in time, at the end of the week or at the end of the day, you honestly have this urge to check just for social comparison purposes, it's time. It's time for you to do that detox. It's very, very, very important for you to consider doing that detox. Now, one of the other things also you need to consider, if at any point in time in your day, you check your social media or you check your digital device, and you spend on average at least like 20 minutes just scrolling through videos. It might not easily pop out to you, but start thinking about it. If at any point in time you spend more than 10 minutes simply sitting back and scrolling through videos, and sometimes it can be just suggested videos, sometimes it can just be, shared content or suggested content, because usually it is something that will lead you to watch something else. So, like, I have colleagues who watch one Wild Out video, and then they watch another Wild Out video, and then they watch another Wild Out video, and then you just realize 20 minutes just went by.
Yeah.
Like 30 minutes just went by.
Very easily.
And you don't. It doesn't hit you immediately. It sometimes takes a bit of sitting back to just check your day.
Yeah.
And like I said, some of these pointers that I've put across are just to give you a sense of where your life is headed in terms of your digital life and how much of yourself you're giving away to your digital life. And the truth is, sometimes it can really be depressing because you almost feel as if, first of all, you don't have enough time in your day. Second of all, you are unproductive. But then the truth is you can't really be productive if only you paid attention to cutting back on some of these things that you do on your digital device. Yeah. And so for me, for now, for getting into the new year, these are some of the things that I think people should start thinking of. Because, if you don't assess it, and if you don't note it down, and if you don't do a proper review of what your digital life is and how much time you spend digitally, you really can't get to rectifying the problem because you really don't understand the problem. And so what I want viewers to do today is to look at all these options that I've put across. So firstly, if you honestly spend too much more time than you intended, that's the first one.
More time than you intended.
Okay. Because it's important. Checking up on your friends, checking up on your family, what's happening socially. It's important to keep yourself updated. I'm not saying that it's not.
What would you say if you were to stab in the dark? Let's say, how many minutes a day should one person really spend? Let's say you're just doing a normal checkup on friends and loved ones. How many minutes should you spend? Say WhatsApp.
It's difficult. It's very, very difficult to put a set time to these things.
What about the range?
Because, and I'll explain why. Different people use these platforms for different things. There's someone who's watching right now who's a social media manager. Okay. There's someone who is a front desk personnel. Yeah. There's someone who is, a salesperson. Okay. They use social media and their digital life is used differently. It's used differently. They have different uses for it. Okay. So it's kind of difficult to set limits. But then I think one of the most important things, and we'll talk about this next week, but one of the most important things is to, once again, assess how much of your digital life is important for you to get your work done. Okay. How much of your digital life is important, or your tech life is important for you to get work done, for you to connect with other people, for you to basically live life. Yeah. These are some of the very salient questions that you need to ask yourself before you start setting limits. Okay. And yesterday I was actually checking some stuff online, and I realized that, for example, Android has released an update to their operating system. So the One UI 3, I believe, is out, came out yesterday. Okay. It has enhancements to, like, well-being, for example, where you can set a well-being for your personal life, and you can set time limits. Okay. For the activities, for the apps and things like that for your work life, and then you can set another one for your personal. Okay. So you do an assessment of how much time I spend in the office, how much time I need to, for example, check my email, how much time I want to dedicate to social media. You do all of that in a certain profile. Then you have, when you're at home as well, on your personal time, you have a different profile for it. So I think that's brilliant. Like you're saying, for those who have Apple devices, for example, it's built into, screen time is literally built into it. It gives you a report every week. Okay. You can actually set time limits, because it's interesting. You have on one sort of tier, you can put all your social media platforms into the social networking tab, and then do an across time limit for it. So you can set an hour for all your social media. So depending on how long you stay on that social media, it's calculating, and then when it's time, it tells you you're done. Or you can do specific to the app. Especially if you know that a particular app is taking a lot of your time, you can set a particular limit to it.
The app.
And I'm sure you can do the same for Android devices as well. So these are built into the mobile devices, into the operating systems of the mobile devices to help you have a better life and a better well-being. But what I'm saying is, firstly, if you spent more time than you intended to spend on your digital devices, it's time for a detox.
Okay.
If you feel guilt, if you at any point feel any guilt or dissatisfaction afterwards, after using your digital devices, it's time for a detox. If you are motivated by fear of missing out, where it almost feels as if you don't own your own time. It's like every time I need to check who is checking. If you ever feel like that,
what's the latest gossip? What's the latest filler?
If you ever feel like that, it's time for a detox.
Okay.
Now, if you experience this weird edge out of nowhere to just check, it's time for a detox. If you seem to never have enough time in your day, trust me, it's time for you to probably do a detox. And finally, if you are checking for just social comparison, my friend posted a picture of ours from a wedding. I posted the same picture. Why is she getting more likes than I am? If at any point you're checking just
issues,
for social comparison, you have issues. And it's time for a detox. Absolutely.
So viewers have been sending questions in. Good morning, City TV. My question is there any application that can be used to limit the use of social media, or that it can automatically shut down the phone after some time so that you don't have access to
Absolutely. And a lot of the device makers currently do that. I've seen some on Samsung especially. I've seen it on an iPhone, like we were talking about. Screen time is built in. Samsung also has their own version that is built into the device.
So can you tweak the settings?
You can tweak the settings. Like I was saying, it comes in different tiers. So you can group, for example, all your productivity tools. If, for example, you are thinking to yourself, when I get home, I want to limit the amount of work I do. You can put all your productivity tools in one box and give it a certain time limit, 6 hours a day, because probably that's how much time you spend at the office. You can group all your social media and set a time limit to it, 2 hours a day or 1 hour a day. I shouldn't have access to it between this time and this time. You can break it down further and go to app specific. So if there's a specific app that is hindering you from better using your time, you can set time limits specifically for those apps. Some of the other apps you might need for whatever, but you have to be very truthful to yourself. And like I said, next week we'll get a little deeper into the conversation about how to get and go about your detoxing, and then some of the suggestions as well. But one app that I found really, really interesting that helps in case you have a mobile device that doesn't have a built-in sort of tracker of sorts. One app that will really help is called Moments. Moments. Just check out Moments. It's a very simple app. It helps you to track your use of your device, how many times you pick it up and put it down, and all those other things. So Moments is just one that you can just use between now and next week to do an assessment of how much and how much you're using.
So we have more. Thank you for this educative program. The topic hits me directly. God bless you for your time and energy. The question here is, are there tried and tested ways to control the time we spend on our phone? This is from Sandra. Sandra, so you've heard what Philip has said. Yes, there.
I mean, there are. There are. And for me, I think it's encouraging that a lot of these mobile device makers and manufacturers thought about baking these, wellness sort of applications and restrictions straight into the operating system, because they realize that it is having an adverse effect on people's mental health and people's lifestyles and things like that. So it's important that they have realized it. But like I always say, it's one thing for them to provide the software. It's a completely different thing about how you apply the software. So once again, the applications are there. Like I said, Moment for me is one of the best that you can find, apart from the ones that are built straight into the mobile device. So if you don't have it on your mobile device, just look for
Download
Moment.
it.
I'll be sharing some more next week as well. But then for me, Moment is the one that stands
Yeah.
out for me. So just use it for this week to assess. Because if you don't assess to understand how much time you're dedicating to it, you probably will end up being very drastic about it. Because one of the things that I'll be talking about next week, for example, is how to be realistic with yourself about how much time you're spending on these devices. Because it's one thing to feel this urge. It's a brand new year. Have all these New Year resolutions. You know, you can be sometimes very drastic without being realistic with the changes that you want to make to your life. And you end up relapsing very, very quickly. So let's use this period till 31st or the 1st or till next week, Tuesday, to do an assessment. Go about your normal life. Download the apps, you know, or set restrictions, or just go to your screen time. Check how much screen time you're using. Do all of those things. Write it down if you have to. But then when we come back next week, then we go into detail. How much time are you spending on your phone? Based on just the feedback you're getting from your mobile device. And then from there, we can look at how to do a proper detoxing and just to give yourself some balance.
Okay. All right, yeah. So a question here is, what's the name of the app again? It's called Moments. Moments. Okay. Moments. Okay. Another one here says, a day without watching City TV's Breakfast Daily is like a day without eating. But I am really addicted to the internet and all that comes with it. What you're saying is absolutely true. This is coming from Nanaya Derby from Drobo, German South. She's watching us all the way in Drobo, and she says greetings to Nanaka Sono. All right, M-O-M-E-N, just so you understand the spelling, M-O-M-E-N-T. M-O-M-E-N-T. So that's the app. It looks like a cute little flower. It's blue and everything. M-O-M-E-N-T. So just look for that app. It's basically allowing you to measure, first of all, and then cut your screen time. You know, just so you can focus on other things. Are there other questions? Yes. So we have one here. This is coming from Kumasi. It's from Ben. Ben says, what about those of us who are addicted to new devices? He says, I waste so much money on new gadgets. If I don't have a fresh device, something's happening to me.
See, like, and I know how you feel. So
I've been there before.
Like,
man.
I have a confession. I have a confession. So I currently use like a MacBook Pro 15-inch, 32 gig RAM. Like it's like the most fabulous thing. It's spec'd out because of the work I do. I've always wanted a 64 gig RAM MacBook Pro. And for those of you who use it, you probably understand. Because I do video editing and things like that. So it's great. It's going for 25,000 cedis. Now, I think about January and the 99 days of January.
Thank you.
And like, I know I need it. My device works okay, but there's always that urge to get the brand new one. So for example, the iPhone 12 is out, or the S21 is out, or the Note 20 Ultra is out, or
it's painful.
Or like the PS5 is out, and you have a PS4 with about 12 games.
It's really painful.
You have, like, listen, there's always that edge to get it, and it is real. It is so real. It's not funny. But here's the thing: ask yourself, and I always do this. Give yourself a month. I typically, like, for example, I know I'm going to get the iPhone 12. I know I'm going to get it. But I always give myself, and this is personal to me. I've given myself 6 months before I get the iPhone 12. I might get it in 4 months. But then, by then...
You're better than me. I've given myself to Easter.
By then, I would have had an assessment, a proper assessment of my current device. If it has any shortcomings. If there is a need for it. Like, if you give yourself, I know it's difficult. It's a very difficult discipline to pick up. But once you pick it up, it makes it much easier for you to get over the edge of purchasing a new device all the time. Ask yourself, with my current device, because usually it is not a completely brand new device. It's usually an upgrade of what you have. Now ask yourself, based on the specs available, based on what you typically use a device for, do you really need a brand new device? A lot of the time you realize that you don't. a lot of the time you realize that you don't. So for example, this Christmas, a friend of mine came over, gave me an external GPU. So basically, an external GPU is sort of an external graphics production unit of sorts, or processing unit of sorts, where it just makes, your computer process graphics much better. And I realized with that, I mean, he will come for it soon, which kills me. But then I just realized with that, I don't need to buy a brand new.
We should pray for forgetfulness.
I just realized I don't need it. You understand?
Okay.
And my thing is, do an assessment of what your devices do for you.
Yeah.
What does your phone do? What do you use your phone for? So you have an iPhone 11 Pro Max, or you have a Samsung Note 20 Ultra. What do you use the device for?
Okay.
Critically, be very critical and be very honest with yourself.
Yeah.
You make phone calls, yes. You receive text messages. You do a WhatsApp. So if you're going to get a brand new device, what are you going to get it for?
Yeah.
Most of the time, the brand new ones actually have less performance enhancements than the ones that you already have. And so why are you spending money on it?
Yeah.
It's nice. It's great. It's a nice feeling to say that you have it. But then realistically, how different is it from the one you use? Obviously, if you have a PS4 and you're going to get a PS5 as an upgrade, it's clear. It's a different ballgame altogether.
Yeah.
We get that. But really and truly, how much time, for example, do you spend gaming a day? Anyway, if you're not a pro gamer who plays video games where you actually make money, why do you spend so much time and money getting a brand new device when your old device seems to work just great?
Okay, Philip, you know how it feels. For me, this is the way I do it. I tell myself, getting a certain brand new device is almost like you're going to buy a Bugatti because you want to drive from Adabraka to Achimota and back every day. And that's all you're going to do. You're going to go and buy a brand new Bugatti.
That's it.
Really? Seriously?
That's it.
Okay. So,
no, but you see, we also have to be very truthful with ourselves.
Yeah.
Don't let poverty tell you that rice does not satisfy you. Don't do that to yourself. Don't let poverty limit your expectations in life. All I'm saying is that even if you have all the money in the world, you have to ask yourself that very salient question. What will this device do differently for me than what I have currently?
Okay. All right.
If it doesn't, there is no point to changing. If you have an iPhone 11, for example, if you have an iPhone 11 Pro Max, well and truly, I don't understand why you, for example, have to get an iPhone 12. Unless it's a 12 Pro Max, I can understand.
Then the difference is clear.
Then the difference is very clear. But then why do you move an iPhone 11 Pro Max to an iPhone 11?
So I can justify my jumping from 7 to 12, right?
I mean, you can absolutely do that.
Thank you very much.
You can absolutely do that.
Okay, so we have a question here. Now, this question, we're going to hold on to it for next time when we come back to answer. Yes, So the question here is from Dominic in Saboba, and he's saying, what you're saying is really true. If I don't have bundle on my phone, I actually feel unhappy.
Yes. You feel almost lost.
Yeah.
You feel almost lost. And there was actually an ad some years ago by one of the telcos that sort of crystallized that, where the person was almost invisible because they didn't have data or they didn't have call time. And that's genuinely how you feel.
Yeah.
Because we've been conditioned to feel that without a connection to our digital life, we almost are non-existent. So it's a very realistic feeling to have.
Dominic, we will address your specific question, what you should do about that, in the next episode that we do this detox, okay? All right, Philip Kubi-Strong is the host of City Trends on 97.3 City FM and also the head of production here at City TV.
Hi there, we hope you enjoyed the show.
Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share with your friends.
This is Breakfast Daily on City TV.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Join us for breakfast, daily, only on City TV.